right, so here we are. We're in the April AIM session on Tuesday, April 5th. And Debbie, you mentioned you had a couple things you wanted to explore today. So what would be on your mind?
Okay, so first off, I am working in, they're forming a foundation. It's called SEAL Future Fund. And the idea of the foundation is actually to help gentlemen when they're retiring from the SEAL teams, having served our country, to transition into civilian life.
Oh, wow.
It's a very, very difficult transition. And what we've defined in that process, I'm working with Karen Burke. She's the one who's actually contacted me, Gina. I don't know if you know Karen.
I do.
From ICF. Okay, so she was an ICF president out in your neck of the woods a while ago. So they were going through the Harvard Business School program when this all started. Karen had been coaching them in the development and reached out to me because I have some personal interest in that area of military. That being said, I've been working with them, and what we have defined is that when these gentlemen apply for scholarships to help them, there is a range of that I'll consider executive coaching. These are guys who are very senior coming out of the teams, who are going into very senior positions in corporate America, iBanking, things like that. But there's another large segment of them that want to go back to school. These are the guys who probably have served 8 to 10 years on the teams and are coming back and now applying to go into schools, and they've defined different phases of that. But clearly, when I talked to them, I said, I think academic coaching would be a really good fit to help those guys take their experiences, which is such a different world than we know, and figure out how to get back into kind of the student mentality and the life skills that you need to be a good student. So I've really been talking to them, where Karen is an executive coach. I've been talking to them more on the academic life coaching side. And so what they want to do is they want to run a trial. They have, this is like their second or third year. They're able to give about 10 scholarships. Last year they had 26 guys apply for the 10 scholarships. They're expecting, they've now been endorsed by the Commander-in-Chief of all Special Forces. So that they're expecting kind of an onslaught of interest. This is a huge, huge, huge problem. I can't emphasize enough how difficult it is for these guys to transition back in. So I'm coming, I don't know how to do this. I talked to them last night because obviously as academic life coaches, we're a very small group, pretty specialized group. And so I'm looking to kind of figure out how I could help them grow the people who might want to work with these gentlemen. It's looking like it would probably be about 10 sessions spread out kind of as they're getting back into academia, trying to help them get reoriented into kind of life.
Sounds like an amazing opportunity and a wonderful, wonderful service for people who are so deserving.
Yes.
They're all men. Am I correct that they're all men?
They're all men.
Okay.
It will be opening up in 2017 for women to do this. But in particular, the SEALs right now are an all-male special force. So, but they have families, and it's just, you know, and they have so much resilience and grit and all the things that we talk about, that I think it's a real opportunity for us to really get in the mindset as academic life coaches of what made these guys tick in their special worlds, and learn about that for us that we can then share with our student clients. But I think it's also a way for us to kind of help them to give back. So I guess my question is, one of the things they're talking about is this something that, is there a way, because obviously it's scholarship based, everything they're doing they're having to raise through donations to give these scholarships for schools and stuff. Karen has been able to work through the Myers-Briggs to get extremely discounted rates for them for testing, so she's working that sort of avenue. But is there, what other than pay, I guess, like our going rate, what can this foundation offer us kind of in lieu of pay that might help get folks, academic coaches, interested in helping and serving?
Well, you know, so the couple things are crossing my mind. First of all, I think that this would be worth a conversation with John, you know, because he has a view of all the coaches. But what crosses my mind, if I were in John's shoes, or even thinking kind of my position within the organization is putting a plea is not the right word. Having a communications to the coaches. You know, maybe it's from John, maybe it's from you, maybe it's from the two of you, with the information that you've shared with us today, and see which coaches would like to do this on a gratis basis. You know, for the to pay back to these young men who have given so much, for the experience, for you know, all the give and take that happens with that kind of a relationship, so that perhaps we don't have to tie to a payment, or, you know, that would be my first thought.
Yeah, that was sort of my thought too.
Yeah, let's see who would just be thrilled to do this on a pro bono basis, for personal reasons.
Yeah, I mean, I could just tell you personally, getting to know these people is an honor.
Mm-hmm.
It's just learning of their strength. I mean, motivation is not an issue with these guys. Let me just put it that way. Yeah, so, okay. That was sort of my thought, but I kind of wanted to I trust both of you, and both of you actually came to mind as people who I think would just be fantastic with these guys. You know,
yeah, I would certainly put my hand up to volunteer for that. And Brenda, do you have any other thoughts on other avenues for Debbie to consider and for this organization to consider?
Sure. So I guess the thing running through my mind, because I'm running into the same thing as I think about, you know, this foundation that we've applied for nonprofit status, and we'll be raising funds for, you know, kids aging out of foster care to have coaching. And I think that because the ICF changed how they count coaching hours, I know at least for me, it's like I could very quickly run into none of my hours count because, you know, once you've hit your limit with pro bono. So I'm curious, even if it could be a low amount, if the foundation would be, you know, because that benefits the coach, you know, in a way too, because I know we all want to give, but we all need to progress professionally. But the ICF doesn't state a level that you have to be paid. So, you know, it could be something where it's $10 a session, you know, or I don't know, it doesn't have to be a lot, but anything opens that door for people to still have coaching hours.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I will pass that on. Interestingly enough, the gentleman who is one of the co-founders of this went into iBanking, was very successful there, but ended up going back to the teams because he couldn't find purpose. He couldn't find value. He couldn't find joy in anything other than the teams, and knows that's where everyone is. And so, yeah, it's a perfect opportunity for us.
Yeah, you know, with the camaraderie and just the level of intensity of what they're experiencing. I dated a guy that was a Marine for a while. And, you know, that's very hard to replace when you're putting your life on the line for other people. There's not a lot of other places that, you know, in society where there's that level of, I don't know, I don't even know how to express it, but level of intensity of life action. So I'm sure it's very difficult. But I would totally be willing to, you know, do some coaching as well. I think that was my only thought is, you know, for stuff to be ongoing. I mean, the ICF allows such a small amount of hours to be pro bono. I don't know. I'm just thinking about that as well for the foundation we're starting.
That's great. I wasn't aware of that. So thank you, Brenda. And I think they're open. They want to do the right thing. Because we did talk about how, you know, when you do pro bono, it also helps to have clients pay something, just even a little amount, because the commitment to the process is much different when there's pay involved. And so they really appreciated that that may even work for coaches. So I think they would be open. Yeah. Clearly they can't pay the going rate of a lot of executive coaches. Yeah, that's just not in their foundation budget. Perfect. So that helps. Thank you. I will, as a result of this, I will reach out to John. I know that it's been craziness with the ICF certification stuff, but I'll send him a note and see if I could set something up, maybe even with him and with Jonathan Wilson, who is this active SEAL now, who's the founder of this foundation. John would be fascinated by listening to these guys and digging into their minds. I'm just telling you, it's an exploration you want to have.
The other thing, Debbie, is I post the recording of this same session. May I share the fact that we discussed this, in the summary, and give your contact information for anybody interested?
Yeah, but please, the one thing, because I obviously got this approved by my son before having some discussions, and the one thing is I have to remain, and I'm saying this online, I have to remain completely invisible in the process of my attachment with it, because there's. So one of the things we thought of is actually allowing coaches to say, here's what I'm doing, here's who I'm working with, because there's a lot of draw to that as American Heroes. I have to really stay very, very invisible in the process.
So what would be, if people who are listening to this recorded were interested, what would be the next step for them?
I think, they're welcome to send me, because I clearly am working with that. And yeah, that's probably the best, is to send it with me, and especially if they have ideas of how it might work. Okay. I'm assuming this would be done via Skype or something, because these guys, I'm not sure where they are. Mm-hmm. Clearly when they're active, they're based out of San Diego or Virginia Beach. Or Hawaii, a few of them. But but after they leave the teams, they obviously disperse.
Yeah, sure. Okay, fabulous. That sounds amazing, Debbie. Thank you for sharing that with us. And
yeah, I'm really excited to start talking to these guys and playing with some of the academic life coaching stuff with them. I think the whole resiliency and stuff is going to be like just so much fun to explore.
So one of the things that I would offer, working with adults is a little different from working with teens. And if there's an academic life coach who hasn't worked with adults, I think it would be good to have a little bit of training about what are some of the differences.
That's a good point.
And so I would offer to do that, to structure kind of a training program, so that this would be, it would be my gift to this effort. But the coaches who sign up to do this, take them through, if they haven't been through another coach training program like CTI or IPAC or one of those, just to make them aware of what are the differences, just in terms of adult coaching and the structure of it.
Okay.
I love that.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, that's true. There clearly is a difference. I know even when I'm coaching college students versus high school students.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, the thing I was going to add too is I'm wondering, I can't imagine, because I've coached both adults and teens, I can't imagine sending, a 28 to 35-year-old guy, an academic life coaching workbook, but certainly I could see picking out, having a plan going in terms of tools. But I think fixed versus growth mindset could be huge, and they'll probably lean toward growth, but they've come from a very structured background, and so just getting over that hurdle of thinking about how to make their skills transferable, that could be a really good one to add in. So Gina, if you do something like that, I'd love to even work with you in helping think about which tools would be most beneficial for the guys.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
Yeah. As I think through it, there are some other tools. Myers-Briggs certainly is one of them. Strengths Finders could be incredible. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So Brenda, that would be great.
Right, and the part that I was also talking to them about was sort of the academic skill set, the whole retrieval-based learning versus, and how to really go back to school, the study skills, because these guys haven't been in classrooms a lot. Yeah, I mean, they definitely have some classroom learning that goes with it for special training, but there's so much through the retrieval and the self-testing and all that science around learning now that they could tap into that would make their school experiences much more meaningful versus being in a boring lecture again going, really? Yeah, so I think that's all really good stuff. Thank you guys so much. That really helps a lot.
Wonderful. Oh, Debbie. Wow, that's remarkable.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited to being able to give back to some people I think are pretty deserving and are going to be major contributors in society once they get back if they're helped.
I can imagine.
So then, I don't know if someone else has. If we want to go round robin, I'll wait for my second one since I took quite a bit of time.
Brenda, thank you, Debbie. So let me check in with Brenda. Anything on your mind?
You know, there's not specifically. I think, you know, the biggest challenge I have right now is just I'm in that waiting process, having to use all my coaching mindset tools. You know, it's like when you have clients say, I want to do this, you know, or I want to take the class, and then, you know, they just haven't gotten to actually signing the contract. And it's like, it seems like it's such a waiting process with clients. So I think that was the only thing on my mind today. It's, you know, it's like, okay, I'm building it brick by brick. And I've got like 6 people right now that have said that they want to do something. And, you know, it's like today, tomorrow. So I don't know if either of you have any tips on just how to be a good waiter other than what we know, or how to help people, you know, take that step. But I know, like, I had to actually, it's hard to have 6 people say they want to come in, and then I did a bunch of website work, so I had to actually infuse cash into my business, even though I have all these people that want to do the coaching, and it's like killing me. So, because my business had been self-sufficient for about 1.5 years, so it's like, so disappointing. But how do you guys handle that?
Yeah, Debbie, any reaction or thoughts?
I usually try and, when I close with the contract, just say, when do you think you'll be making a decision? Just because it's a gift to both of us not to have to be wondering. And so I just would like you to go ahead and make a decision so that it's not hanging over your head, sort of thinking about it. You know, so I've sort of done that because I'm not very good at waiting.
That's a great way to put it. It's a gift to both of us.
That's excellent. Yeah, and I will check in periodically. So if it's, you know, depending on if it's you're waiting on a parent, or if you're waiting on a student, or if I'm waiting on a parent, or if I'm waiting on a student, I'll just send them an email and say I'm just checking in to see, you know, and particularly if there's something imminent that's happening, like a semester's about to start, or the summer's about to start, or I know that my calendar's filling up. You know, there's almost always a reason to say, just wanted to check in because blah blah. Wanted to see what your thoughts were on when we can get started, when you'd like to get started.
Okay.
And actually, following up on Gina, that's sort of what I do. I do send an email saying, you know, I have my schedule. I published my schedule for next semester. My time slots are on a first come based on when people make deposits. So I just wanted to let you know that, you know, that's happening. And if you have a specific time that you're going to try and fit into, sooner's better than. It's better sooner, because I do go first come first serve based on contracts and deposits.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Okay. All right. Thanks, guys. I have checked in, you know, and it's that really upbeat, yeah, we're totally in. It's like, when? So,
do you have any idea why they're holding up, Brenda?
One of them is a student that I worked with. I took him through the whole program. They want him to do it again, but he's seeing a counselor right now. And so I told them they would need to get permission, from the counselor. And so, but this family was slow. They said they wanted to do it the first time, and it took them about 2.5 months to actually make it happen. So, and then there's a group that wants me to take them through. It's an organization, a nonprofit that serves at-risk youth, and they want me to do a special coach training class for them. And they want to meet twice a week so they can complete the program in 12 weeks rather than 24. And so they just said they had a big proposal come into their nonprofit, and they said, we're in, but then they haven't returned the contracts or, pay their deposits or anything. So that's been stretching on since January. And it was just 2 weeks ago they said again, oh, we're in. So So yeah, I don't know. It's driving me a little crazy. but anyway, I was just curious how y'all handle that, and because it's, kind of discouraging the ebb and flow of business as you're, just in process. So yeah.
I guess as I've been reflecting on this situation, your situation, Brenda, what occurs to me is that right now you have a pipeline with a certain number of possibilities and opportunities flowing through it. And when the aperture of that pipeline gets bigger, you sort of don't even, the level of attention that you pay to it gets reduced because there are just more things that are happening. And so I would hold this more, or consider holding it more as you're in a stage right now. You're in a growth stage. The first stage was when you didn't have a pipeline. Right?
Now I have one that's sputtering.
Yeah, now you have a pipeline. And as your business grows, that pipeline will get filled more. And so the delays aren't as apparent.
Sure. Yeah, that's a good mindset. I've been trying to not feel discouraged, but when it's like doing well. Oh no, I have to infuse cash. So, and we had it to infuse, so it was.
The other thing to consider is, I don't know how financially how you're kind of balancing, or that's not the right word, but I don't know how you're running your business. But one thought is to keep enough cash in your business to tide you through.
Right.
What might be times
right.
that are
I
slower.
didn't have that until I had Stacy just do she reworked my whole website.
I saw it's beautiful.
Actually, I'm really pleased with it. So not disappointed that I spent the money whatsoever. It just hit that timing crunch where it was like, okay. And so normally I do have, cash, and the business had been doing, supporting itself, not paying me yet, but supporting itself. And so, and the fun things that I wanted to do to kind of build all the social media stuff out. So yeah, I think it was just that space. So anyway, but yeah, good mindset. Thanks, guys.
Congratulations.
And my sense is that you will, as the pipeline gets more robust, like Gina was talking about, you'll look back saying, I wish I sort of had those breaks where things were a little slower from coaching. Because I know I had one yesterday. I started at noon and I went till 7 o'clock straight. I was exhausted. And I'm like, oh, I remember when I used to have one or two. It was just like, oh. I mean, it's a good problem to have, but it was just like, oh, I'm tired.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and I guess something else that occurs to me is we are in a business that does have ebbs and flows. And this was a question we actually had that we may not have focused much on. But the summertime for me tends to be a bit slower, a bit by design, and that's when I tend to do a lot of my development. So I kind of count on having a little bit of a slower summer to get some other things done in my business. We can't always predict the cycle of when it's going to be busy, but generally what I find is the fall through April, May can be nuts, like Labor Day through the end of the school year, and then there's a bit of a breathing period. With the Christmas holidays generally being a bit, New Year's being a bit quiet. And when you plan on that, then that becomes an opportunity to do some other things, to get some education, to work on some other aspects of your business, to take a vacation. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, I was pretty busy until about mid-March.
Mm.
So I don't know about you guys. Then I start getting antsy. It's like, okay. But we've been moving too, so I haven't been doing any marketing because I just haven't had time. So some of it, I don't know. I guess I just was thinking as coaches, if we're not immune to being disappointed or feeling discouraged at times, and so just trying to think through what kind of mindset do we want to have, and how do I keep my momentum and my motivation, not that I'm lacking motivation, but, how do you just kind of push through? So needing a little grit and resiliency. And glad today happened when it did. So.
And what else do you know about yourself, Brenda, that will help you kind of rebound?
Well, previously I've used the ICF peer mentor coaching.
Mm-hmm.
If there's a lull or I anticipate a lull, I'll join around just to add in, that kind of accountability and that space, and figure that I'm coaching and, doing more than I would have been. And so I've thought about joining another round. But literally, we just moved 2 days ago, and now I'm sick. So, maybe I just need to give myself a day or two. So I think that can. I'm sure it's all playing in, but yeah, I'm excited. Overall, and I ran this big Facebook campaign to try to add people to my list for my blogs. And it fell flat. I got 4 people that signed up for my list and spent about $30. And it should have been, from all my marketing classes, about 23 cents a person. And so I posted my, to this group. I said, okay, this didn't work. What happened? And they said, you need to have like a specific page where the only thing somebody has to do is sign up for your blog. And, or opt in for your free offer. And so I had Stacy create a page on my website, and I haven't had time to run any ads, and I've already had 7 people opt in just because that page is there, and I posted it on Twitter and pinned it.
That is so interesting.
So they keep saying build the list, because that's going to be those people that are really interested in your content. And so it's like I'm kind of blah on, some of these clients taking so long to get going. But, when I can step back, that's what I know about myself. When I can step back and not look at the small details of what's not working or not in the time frame I was hoping for, if I can look at that big picture, I can say, okay, I am really building something. And it's, when you build something, it takes a while, but what I'm doing is quality. And I'm trying to, just make sure that it all, once it's in place, I anticipate having days like Debbie. So I think that's my big picture, what I know I can come back to. So thank you, Gina.
You're welcome. Congratulations.
Yeah, you're doing great because you're building all the foundation.
Yeah.
And it's really a strong foundation. I was taking notes like, oh yeah, I need to do that, and I need to do that. I'm like, oh my God. Yeah.
Well, and I see other people like, that don't seem to need that to have their business grow. But I know for what I want to do with my life coaching and then tied to the foundation, I really need that foundation. And because I want to do something much bigger than just coach in my hometown or, whatever. And so, and I'm not tech savvy, so all of it's a lot of work. And so I guess, so anyway, thanks guys. I just needed to be able to see where I'm coming and where I'm going. Really appreciate it.
Well, it's helpful sometimes to step back and be able to look at the bigger picture, which is what I'm observing you just did, Brenda. So good for you.
Yeah. So, okay, that's it for me. So Gina or Debbie, you said you have a second thing too.
Debbie, you had something else you wanted to do?
Gina, do you have an agenda?
No, I'm completely open to whatever you guys want to.
Okay.
Explore.
So on Thursday, have you heard about the film Screenagers? It's a docusode. It's a documentary that was just a brief. She's actually a Stanford-trained MD and is now living up in Seattle and has a 14-year-old daughter and went to buy her a phone and wasn't sure, do I get her a smartphone or a flip phone, and was in all this quandary. So she happens to also be a documentarian. So she started a film and went around really studying the impact of screens on teenagers and what it's doing. And she's brought in scientists of what the studies are saying about attention spans and this, and went to different schools to see how they're how they're handling it. It's very, very well done. So I had written a piece back, I don't know, maybe during the summer, something for FOSSI, Family Online Safety Institute. And so I went and I had interviewed a couple of principals in the Bay Area schools that had technology issued as part of their school. So iPads are given to each student. So when this film came out, I contacted those two schools and said, hey, I know based on our conversations, this is something you're struggling with. I'd be happy to underwrite the cost of the film to show it at your school, if I could kind of partake in that whole process of showing it. So one of the schools is Bellarmine, which is our all-boys school. It's my son's alumni school. So they're showing it on Thursday. It's sold out because we have a reservation system. It's sold out, so there's 350 students. Well, there's 300 students, 50 parents in the morning showing, and then the evening showing's 350 parents. Sold out like that. So I know that it's an audience that's really struggling with this. I know from talking to the teachers, I've been working with their counseling departments trying to put this all together. So I'm going in to sort of facilitate the showing of this because Screenagers also gives you different discussion worksheets and things like that. You could continue the topic both at home but also within the school and everything like that. So what I need help with, that's kind of just the background. What I need help with is how can I use that, and they're okay with this, how can I use that as a marketing to grow my list, to get free enrollment conversations or whatever. That's what I'm trying to work on right now. What we've done, which I'm actually pretty excited about, is we've put together a survey that the students are taking, because it talks about, like, I didn't know, average kids spend 6.5 hours a day on screens outside of schoolwork. 6.5 hours. On screens, doing social media, watching YouTube, all of that. That's huge. If you think about it, right? Our attention span now as humans is less than a goldfish. It's literally rewiring our brains with all this screen. They go through and they show all these studies. So the survey basically is asking all the students attending, how much of an issue do you think your screen usage is? How many hours do you spend on your screen? So we're getting school-specific information, which I think is useful for the school, but also what we could share with the parents in the evening show, right? This is what we know about our students because they, Bellarmine families think their students are different, like we all do, right? So I know I'm really excited about having that data. And what we're going to do is the principal is actually going to stand up and say, we're in this together. We know we're giving your kids technology. We know it's creating issues at home because they now have to use that technology to do school. We're doing this to start a conversation, right? And then that's where I sort of take over. We show the film, and then we're going to have, the audiences are too big to do breakout groups. So we're going to do sort of a panel question and answer with the school counselors and myself. So that's what we have planned. The question is, what can I do to sort of tap into it, to use it as a feeder for potential clients to continue this conversation?
I have some ideas just from my class.
Cool.
Okay. So you need to have something free you offer. And so I would say, if you have time, put together an ebook of some, tools or something that you would want to share with kids, something that you would maybe do in a coaching session and tell parents that if they want to get your free, whatever, that, sign up so that you can contact them through email. But the big thing is, if you to get people to give you their email address, you need to give them something free. And it'll take more, I know from support raising, when we were in ministry, everybody said a general ask is no ask. If you don't specifically talk to an individual, then the group as a whole doesn't tend to respond. So I think, I would come up, even if you printed some of them, and they had to sign up, to have ongoing tools, but give them something free, whether it's ebook or a tangible thing they could walk away with, but they have to give their email to get it.
So, we're actually in the school theater where this is being done. So one of the things was having a one-page handout that has a couple of free things like screen blockers and different tools that I'm sharing with my clients right now, right? That they can take that page that would then have all my marketing to go with the call to action. My free ebook right now is called College Launch Workbook. Do you think that the offering has to tie to screenagers?
Yes, I would think so, because that's what you're doing. So you want to have continuity with your marketing. And
Okay.
so it'll feel discordant, or there'll be a dissonance if, there isn't something specifically related to what you're talking about. But even if you went to Canva, I did a little 6-page book, and it probably took me 2 to 3 hours just to design it. And I put 3 coaching tools in there. So I don't think it has to be something big, it can just be something that's well done.
Okay.
But rather than give out a sheet with all of your stuff, I would make it an ebook that they have to sign up for.
Okay. I had already started a meetup, and it's been really flat about the whole screen management. And so the other thing I was thinking is just saying, if you want to continue this conversation, join this meetup group.
Mm-hmm.
You could do that, or the other thought I had was, will you have like a feedback form at the end where they have feedback and questions, so questions that they may not be comfortable asking, or get a survey of what was helpful about this, what do you wish you had seen, what would you like more of, kind of thing. And then any questions, email me, or call me. Here's how you go, and have your little bio on that as well.
Right. So we are planning on doing a post survey of the parents, saying, what were your reactions to the film? What do you plan to do? Do you plan to do anything differently at home as a result of this, with some choices? And then what's the follow-on you'd like? Join continuing conversations such as Meetup, webinars on technology, tools. So we're giving them that option. The good news is the school has all the emails because they did the registration. So I guess if I can get those emails, but
they may or may not release those to you.
Yeah.
So if you have something like what Brenda suggested with a giveaway where they supply your email, or a survey where they can supply their email to be put on your mailing list or for more information, and make sure they know that you work one-on-one or a group or whatever you're doing at this point. If they'd like any more information on how you work with students.
Mhm. Debbie, I'd be really cautious about getting an email list from the school and then using that too, because people didn't choose it, so it doesn't feel as ethical.
Yeah.
In terms of building the list. And the other thing is, you mentioned that as a society, we have the attention span of a goldfish. So I think whatever you want them to do, they need to do in the moment, because when they walk out of those doors, your percentage of people that will respond will plummet greatly. So even if it's, hey, get out your phones, type in this, here's where the ebook is, some of them will do it right there, sitting in the audience. But if they walk out those doors, you'll probably, I don't even know how it'll plummet, but it'll be big.
Yeah.
So I know John used to, when he would do the school presentations, he would have a sign-in sheet, or he would actually hand out forms that say, fill out this form now, and I'll send you a book. Do you think that might be better than, Brenda, pull out your phones and do it?
I think you could go either way, but everybody has a phone, and so they're probably on it even while you're doing your presentation. So there'll be people,
which is about screens, which is always interesting.
So there'll be people that'll be totally up for checking out your website, especially if you have that one landing page, where all they could do is put in their stuff. It's like, okay, let's just take a second, 30 seconds here. Everybody hold up your phone, type in this address. Here's the ebook. If this is of interest to you and you want to really help your kids with screens, here are my top tools. And I bet you'd have a really high conversion rate of people that in that moment, hearing the panel and you speaking and having just seen the video, it could be really effective.
Yeah. Gretchen Wagner, who has been my mentor coach, she suggested actually saying I'm opening 20 enrollment slots to have, or I'm opening 20 slots to have one-on-one conversations if you want to continue on how to handle this specifically in your family.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know how to capture those either. I mean, unless you have a calendar there that people get to pick times and just sign up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And, everything I've been hearing, because I do all my marketing nationally, is that people don't buy from you until they know, like, and trust you. And so they're going to get to know you as you speak and as they sign up for your free offer. And then if you're doing blogging or whatever, that's how you build that know, like, and trust. And so there might be a, one or two in the audience that would be ready to sign up, but there's probably going to be a fairly low percentage that would be ready that day.
Got it.
So that's just from, things I've been learning in my marketing stuff. So you could always try it, but but don't be disappointed if nobody signs up.
Right.
I would really work to get them, to grab your free offer and get on your list.
Okay. Gina, thoughts? I know you do all the business building.
Yeah. The 20 slots thing, I don't know. I kind of find that to be a turnoff. My style is just to say, if you'd like to continue this conversation, please give me a call, and I'm happy with that. And just leave it open. Capture their information, as Brenda has said, but also, I don't know. I don't tend to do that strong. I'm opening 10 slots. I'm opening 20 slots. It's more, I'm available. I'm a resource, and I'd be, honored to help you work through what you're working through. This is another approach.
Yeah, I'm always, I'm very sensitive to selling at school.
Yeah.
But the counselors are just like, look, because I keep apologizing. I'm like, no, people come in here with tables of books, and it's like, and stuff like that. Yeah. So I liked the having, I was thinking of the freebie. I was thinking of actually having it as a sheet that they take, Brenda, but yeah, having some way that either they turn in a form, they have a form they fill out and I send it to them so I get their emails, or they go online right there and get it is probably the best. And maybe what the form is it's the survey. Instead of doing an electronic survey, maybe it's the fill out the paper survey, leave it with me, and at the end it says, if you want to talk more, I'm a resource, check here. And if you want the free books, you know, give me your email. That might work, because then I have a stack of papers.
My only thought on that is you want to give them one option. So that's when I started getting conversions on that landing page. Because I was sending people to my home page, and I love my home page. Stacy did a really fun job. And so I was like, I only got 4 conversions, you know, and I did everything like my marketing class said, you know, above the fold. I had the pain points that I can help students with, you know, and I had my free offer. But the feedback was when people saw my homepage was, you've got too much going on. And so people are distracted because they have the attention span of a goldfish. So they've scrolled through your homepage and they've seen all these other things. And then they don't get back to signing up for the ebook. And so they said, you know, once they start to scroll, conversions just drop off the cliff. And so even with your thing, if you have them do a survey and then you want them to check this box or fill out this email, suddenly they've got like 3 things or 4 things that you're asking them to do. And I think your conversions will go way down. So if you want their emails, give them a sheet that said, if you want my free book, my free ebook, write down your email. And that would be all the sheet says if you want to do a handout. And then I would have a picture of the cover of the ebook so they can see what they get.
Yeah.
Okay. So, okay. Yeah. Oh my God. Okay.
What's going on, Debbie?
It looks like I stressed you out.
Number one, I know that I'm overdoing it on the ebook. I love the fact you framed it, Brenda, and said it doesn't have to be big, because that's, you know, even if the ebook is, here's, if you want to block technology, here's some great tools for doing that. If, you know, having a screen-free hour, you know, like just three steps, right?
Yeah.
Of things you can do. So I could pull back on, so I don't panic trying to get that done.
You don't have to call it an ebook. It could be, you know, the top tools or top tips.
10 top tools.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I'm trying to figure out where the survey fits in, because I mean, unless the school issues the survey.
So I wouldn't do the survey. I would pick one way to capture it. So the survey could be one means of capturing their email address. Another way could be either getting them to your landing page or having them sign up for your ebook. Just pick one.
Okay.
Yeah. And if you guys want the survey for data, I would do that at the very end, like as they're ready to, you know, like 3 minutes before they exit. Say, you know, we're just gathering information and really want to know how this worked for you guys. So it's a separate handout that they do. And again, it's that one thing that they do. You're not trying to capture anything. And it could be anonymous even, you know, just that there's no place to put names. It's just check the boxes and, you know, this is the information we're trying to gather.
Right. Because I know that they're using SurveyMonkey for the students. And so I think the plan was to use SurveyMonkey at the end after they've seen the film. And maybe one of the survey questions could be, I'm interested in hearing more, like what would be most helpful? And maybe one of the things I could ask them is, I'm interested in being contacted to hear more about. And that could be I could get the email for those people, right?
Then it couldn't be anonymous. They'd have to then supply their contact information.
Right.
I would still keep it separate, Debbie.
Okay.
I just would do it. I'm just noticing, without any marketing, I spent $30 for 4 people to join my list. I spent nothing and 7 people joined. Now I know those aren't large numbers, but I haven't even tried to market with my new, page that Stacy finished at the end of the week, and then we packed our boxes up and I put my computer away. So I would stick to just that one thing. If you want their email, that's the only thing that they're giving you on that particular sheet. If it's a presentation, there's nothing wrong with sending out, while the panel you're speaking, send out your card, and those are collected. And then, 15 minutes later, they do the survey and they're out the door.
Okay. I'm trying to think of the logistics of how to do that. I could definitely get a landing page done. Brenda, what's your landing page? I just want to see the one that's converting so highly.
Well, let me see if I can screen share. Let me pull it up. It'll just take a minute. You can keep talking.
Okay. So I think the survey, thinking through this, what I'll have is Ed Surratt, who's doing continue the survey that will be taken after seeing the film towards the end of our discussion. And then what I will do is a half-page maybe a couple of statistics that aren't in the film that I have with, if you want a free tool, if you want like 10 tips for how to suggestions for how to approach this at home. Oh, that's really cool.
Great.
That's it. That's all I have. And then it's on my website. It's not one of my tabs, so I have to put it in an ad or post the link, on Facebook or Twitter. But that's it. And then they click. The complaint from my marketing class too was that I had too many clicks. It's like click here to download, and then you have to enter your name, and then here to start your download. And now if you click this, it just immediately starts the download.
Okay.
So that's, and I even had her take she had a little bar at the bottom of the page down here with my, contact me. And I'm like, let's take that off. We don't want anybody distracted. To get one thing to do.
Okay.
So anyway.
Fabulous.
So if I did a page like that, I'm very overwhelmed now.
Oh.
No, it's all good ideas. I just need to really sort of think through.
Debbie, you can, one way to think about this is you have this presentation coming up, but you're going to have others. So for this one, maybe you have, they send you an email. If they send you an email and you can just send me an email, I'll send this to you. So then you're not worried about trying to develop that landing page right now. But that could be for the future.
Right. That's a good idea. Yeah. Or even collecting the emails, like sign up, maybe even having a clipboard that gets passed. If you're interested in getting the 10 tips, exactly. And there's a clipboard that gets passed back and forth.
Right.
And people just give me their emails, and then I'm in control of sending it to them.
Yeah. How does that feel?
That feels much easier, obviously.
I think that could totally work, Debbie. You just need to have something that they have one thing, just not a sheet with like 3 things they need to do.
Okay. So, if you're interested in, receiving, some more follow-on of 10 tips of steps you can take now to help start harnessing this screen the screen monster. There's a clipboard going around. Please leave your email and I'll send it to you.
Right? If you're having 300 parents, I would have more than one clipboard.
Yeah.
Get one per row or something like that.
Or maybe what I have is a quarter page that as they walk in, they take that says that up front, if you're interested in getting more information.
But one of Brenda's point was the half-life of that action is minuscule. So even if you have a piece of paper, they walk out the door, they put that piece of paper in their pocket or in their pocketbook, and they're on to the next event. So capturing that information while they're sitting in the seats while they're captive, I think is critical.
Right. So I guess what I need then is I need like 10 clipboards. That's 30, 10 clipboards, and I need a couple of my friends to just basically go and spread them out as we're doing this after I film. And then I will be able to enter those and send them the 10 tips.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does that sound like that would work, Brenda? Sure feels a lot simpler to me.
Yeah, no, I think that would totally work. Just that you don't have to have a landing page. I thought maybe you already would have something, but if you don't, definitely don't feel like you have to build something. The goal is just to get their email addresses, and the best way to do that is, like Gina said, they're captive. They've got one thing to do in that moment. Hey, we're going to take 2 minutes, and it's literally quiet, and nothing else is going on while the clipboards go around. They have one job, and that's to write down their email address. So I think that's how, if they want it.
And so the information I want to ask for is simply just their name and their email, not what class their kid's in or anything else, just their name and their email, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Brenda, one thought I have is if that clipboard's going around, name, email, and what about a box to check if you'd like me to contact you, if you'd like to talk more, check here.
I wouldn't. That's another decision they have to make. So when the clipboards are going around, they have one decision. Do I want these tips? Do I want her to send me these tips via email? So,
Okay.
I
can do that.
was all I did was click the link, and you could see my picture and the free offer. And, it was like, even that was too much. So I would just keep it really, really focused.
Yeah. Yeah, because I'm looking at actually co-teaching a summer school class with their learning center. And so that's where, hopefully I'll get a second exposure to a lot of these students. Okay, thank you. I know our time's up. That's been very helpful. Sorry it took all the time.
That was an interesting discussion. I think other people will benefit from that, and so what each of us are going through individually, like Debbie, this kind of dilemma, and how do I do that? If you're going through it, many other coaches are. So,
yeah.
Brenda, thank you for sharing your expertise.
It's beautiful, Brenda. I could see why people signed up.
Yep, I'm gonna hopefully get an ad going today or tomorrow when I'm feeling better, and I'm looking forward to more people, and then just keeping those blogs going so that they have fresh content all the time, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah. So are you doing video blogs or blog blogs?
I've been doing blogs. I want to move into video. I just haven't, it's like another thing to learn. So I've been trying to master Twitter and Facebook, and have been reworking my whole website. So now that my website's done, I'd like to, add in the video. So
I would think video blogging would, because just your personality and your heart comes through when you talk, I would think it'd be very effective.
Well, they say just for anybody who's doing any sort of marketing, that's the key. And so right now my homepage has a picture of me, but that's really a video spot, in the background of the website of what Stacy built. And so as soon as I get to a place where I'm like ready to go, it's hard to do video. It's like, just saying what you want to say and really communicating it and keeping it concise. So it's just a new thing for me to learn, but it's definitely in the plan.
Okay, I'm going to get busy doing my top 10 tips for.
It can be 5. It could be 3.
Yeah, I know. I mean, again, I have a ton of research I've been doing as part of this, so it'd be fun to sort of distill that into something that'd be useful and hard hitting.
Well, Debbie, good luck with it, and please keep us posted on how it went.
I will. And then I fly up to get my puppy, 2-pound puppy on Friday morning in Portland. So once I get through this, I'm out the door going to get my puppy.
Congratulations. All
Thank
right. Well, our next AIM session is in May. It's always the first Tuesday of the month, and so that would be May 3rd. Yeah, May 3rd.
Okay.
All right.
Great.
So we'll see you then.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.